Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I will be talking about something which is extremely important, but still something which not a lot of people pay attention to. The energy systems in the human body. What are the energy systems? How do they work? How knowing about these energy systems can help us improve our performance and reach our physical and workout goals a lot faster. Coming up on the other side, all you need to know about the energy systems. Friends, if you are one of the viewers who is going to leave the video within a minute or so, then please do not waste your time watching this video, as this video requires you to watch till the end for a complete understanding. For those of you who are actually interested, then remember to watch till the end, as I promise to leave you with a lot more clarity. Now, when I say energy, a lot of you perceive the word many different ways. Some of you might think of it as the energy needed to wake up early in the morning, others for walking. Some may perceive it as the energy needed for lifting weights or whatever. Well, all of you are right. But what we need to understand here is that every activity ranging from getting out of bed to lifting extremely heavy weights requires energy. And there are different energy systems in our body which help us perform these activities. So what are these energy systems? They are broadly classified as aerobic energy system and your anaerobic energy system. Now I'm certain that most of you would have come across these two terms in your high school biology classes. Aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic implies in the presence of oxygen, whereas anaerobic implies in the absence of oxygen. The exact same concept extends to energy systems. The aerobic energy system operates in the presence of oxygen, whereas the anaerobic energy system operates in the absence of oxygen. Every activity performed by the human body, ranging from your intense workouts to your daily chores, are covered by these two energy systems. Let us start off by talking about the anaerobic energy system. Like I mentioned, the anaerobic energy system operates in the absence of oxygen. It further consists of two energy systems. The ATP-CP energy system on one hand, also known as the phosphagen energy system, or the glycolytic or lactic acid energy system on the other hand. Let us understand why the anaerobic energy system exists, alright? Certain exercises or movements require a lot of energy or a lot of instant energy. For example, if you are deadlifting 150 kgs for a single repetition, then the need for energy is a lot and is instant. When the need for energy is massive, then oxygen cannot enter your energy pathway. In such a situation, where does your body get the energy from? Right? You still have to perform the movement. You resort to your ATP, which stands for your adenosine triphosphate, and this is the basic unit of cellular energy. This brings us to the first anaerobic energy system, the ATP-CP energy system. Before we move into the ATP-CP energy system, let us understand what ATP in its purest form is. ATP is a high energy compound which contains an adenosine molecule and 3 phosphate groups. So how does the body use ATP to produce energy? When we perform certain movements, let's say a 100-meter sprint or a heavy lift, the muscular contraction helps us break into the high energy bond between the phosphate molecules. And as a result, your ATP is broken down to your ADP. This process of breaking down of ATP to ADP releases a lot of energy and is then used by your body to perform the movement. Now that we have a brief understanding of what ATP is, let us dig deeper into the ATP-CP energy system. This is an energy system which fuels energy for movements lasting up to 10 to 12 seconds at max. But what if I told you that the amount of ATP produced is sufficient only to last for maximum 2 seconds when intense work is done? This obviously means that even performing a movement lasting for 10 to 12 seconds, your ATP needs to be resynthesized. And that is where the CP of ATP-CP comes into play. That is your creatine phosphate. Your body uses the existing stores of creatine phosphate in your muscles and breaks it down, which releases a phosphate group. Now this phosphate group then attaches to your ADP, which we spoke about earlier. And then again ATP is produced. Now that you have understood how the ATP-CP system works, keep in mind that the energy being produced from this system is only when you're performing workouts of high intensity and short duration, and that is not lasting more than 10 to 12 seconds. So how can knowing all of this help you increase your performance, right? While performing exercises up to 10 to 12 seconds using the ATP-CP energy system, keep in mind that after the 10 seconds, your ATP and creatine phosphate stores are going to deplete, and your body needs at least 3 to 5 minutes of passive recovery before you can get going again. This gives us approximately a 1:20 work to rest ratio. So let us say you're performing a 200 kg deadlift for that matter, which takes you approximately 10 seconds. Then the minimum rest for optimal recovery should be 10 into 20, which equals 200 seconds, which is little more than 3 minutes. Well guys, if you're finding this video informative, then do not forget to drop a like and subscribe to my channel for more such content in the future. Well, with all this being said, what happens after 10 to 12 seconds? What happens once your ATP is depleted? For instance, if you are working with moderate weights in sets of 12 to 15, you might use ATP for the first few reps. But once your ATP molecules have been extinguished, how do you get your energy? That is when your glycolytic or lactic acid energy system comes into play. Now you must be wondering, ATP molecules have been depleted. It is an anaerobic energy system, hence oxygen cannot enter the energy pathway. So how does this energy system provide us with energy? The fuel for this energy system is glucose. A lot of us have heard that carbohydrates give us energy, or having a banana before a workout might make us feel energized. How does that happen? The carbohydrates that we eat are stored in the body in the form of glycogen stores, in our muscles and in our liver. These glycogen stores are then converted into glucose by a process called glycolysis. Usually an average person has 500 grams of glycogen present in their muscles and liver at any point of time. Right, so glycolysis has taken place. But where is the final energy coming from? Let me tell you. The end products of glycolysis are 2 molecules of ATP and 2 pyruvate molecules. Now what is pyruvate? It is a weak mild acid or an end product of glycolysis. It can do the body no harm and cause no sort of pain. But many a times in the final few reps of an exercise, we tend to feel a burn in our muscles. Have you ever wondered why? It is owing to the conversion of pyruvic acid into lactic acid in the absence of oxygen. And that lactic acid triggers a pain, causes soreness, leads to fatigue of your muscles, as it is a lot stronger than pyruvic acid. So the next time you are in the gym, pumping lots of weights on your chest or doing a lot of squats and feel a lot of burn on your muscle, then remember that it is your lactic acid which is working for you. Certain exercises where you can be using your lactic acid energy system could be performing exercises for 1 to 2 minutes, working in sets of 10 to 15 reps, running a 400-meter race, and so on. When it comes to the work to rest ratio for the lactic acid system, different ratios work for different people and for different goals. Ideally, a 1:4 ratio or a 1:5 ratio works. But if you are someone who is looking to carry that extra burn from the previous set, then that can even reduce. Moving on to our second broad classification of the energy systems, the aerobic energy system. Unlike the anaerobic energy system, the aerobic energy system functions in the presence of oxygen. Now, the aerobic energy system makes use of carbohydrates, proteins, and even fats, right, to provide the body with energy. This energy system is active in a state of rest as well as in a state of submaximal intensity, ranging from 50 to 99% of your maximum heart rate. So undoubtedly, it is the most predominant energy system in the human body. So what we need to understand here is that the 3 energy systems, that is the ATP-CP energy system, the lactic acid energy system, and the aerobic energy system, work in progression. Once the ATP has been depleted, the lactic acid energy system takes over. After about 30 seconds of energy production by the lactic acid energy system, the aerobic energy system starts contributing to the supply of energy. And after about a minute or 2, it completely takes over the supply of energy, breaking down carbohydrates and fats in the presence of oxygen. So if you're performing exercise of high intensity, performing high intensity workouts, then without taking any breaks such as a 5 kilometer run or a 10 kilometer run, then it is your aerobic energy system that is working for you. So how does the aerobic energy system work? Like I said before, the aerobic energy system takes over the lactic acid energy system, and hence the first step here as well is glycolysis. Now as we recollect, the end product of glycolysis was 2 molecules of ATP and 2 pyruvate molecules. However, in the presence of oxygen, the pyruvate is further converted into acetyl coenzyme A. Now remember that the aerobic energy system makes use of fats as well. So acetyl coenzyme A can be produced by fatty acids present in your body. Things are about to get a bit technical, but hang in there. The acetyl coenzyme A then enters Krebs cycle, which involves a bunch of reactions and leads to the production of more ATP. From here, it then goes on to the electron transfer chain, which leads to the production of even more ATP. So as you can see across these two processes, that is the Krebs cycle and the electron transfer chain, ATP is being resynthesized. Various other byproducts are produced as well, such as oxygen, hydrogen, and water, and most importantly 34 ATP molecules. So as you can see, the aerobic energy system is capable of producing the maximum energy as compared to anaerobic energy system. Now that was all about the energy systems. Quickly summarizing the highlights and the important points of the 3 energy systems we discussed today. As far as energy production is concerned, the energy production for the aerobic energy system is very high, up to 34 ATP molecules. As far as ATP-CP is concerned, the energy production is limited, and it is limited for the lactic acid energy system as well. The primary fuel used for the aerobic energy system includes carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. The ATP-CP energy system uses ATP and creatine phosphate, whereas the lactic acid energy system uses carbohydrates as its source of fuel. The duration of aerobic energy system is very long, lasting up to several hours. The duration for ATP-CP energy system is very less, often less than 30 seconds, and for the lactic acid energy system, it lasts for maximum 1 to 3 minutes. An example of aerobic energy system would be a marathon, or that of ATP-CP energy system would be a 100-meter sprint, and for the lactic acid energy system, would be performing weight training exercises for 15 to 20 reps. Alright guys, that brings me to the end of this video. Remember to share this video with as many people as you can, because like I said, something as simple as understanding your energy systems can help you reach your goals a lot faster and not make mistakes in the process. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Till the next time, see you all.